My name is Vivian Mercer, 23 years old. At least, I was 23 when my family decided I was the kind of person who could steal from them. You ever get blamed for something so absurd, so completely detached from reality, that your brain stops processing words? You just stand there blinking because, surely this has to be some kind of misunderstanding. It wasn't. 3 years later, I'm 26 now, and I still sometimes wake up hearing my sister scream my name like I was a criminal. Back then, we lived in a quiet town in upstate New York. Nothing fancy. Two-story house, squeaky stairs, winters that lasted too long. My dad, Richard, taught math at the local high school. My mom, Joanna, worked brutal nursing shifts that left coffee stains on every travel mug she owned. We weren't rich, but I thought we were solid. My older sister, Emily Mercer, was 3 years older and had always been the star of the family. Perfect grades, perfect internships, perfect corporate job in Chicago. When she came home, conversation shifted around her naturally, like flowers chasing sunlight. I wasn't a disaster, just unfinished. I worked part-time at a grocery store, took community college classes when I could afford them, and spent a lot of time pretending I wasn't bothered when relatives asked, "So what's your plan?" Emily got engaged that summer. Her boyfriend Daniel looked like he'd been manufactured specifically to make parents proud. Corporate lawyer, family money, expensive watches, perfect teeth. The ring he proposed with? Family heirloom, huge diamond. The kind of ring people lower their voices around. Mom wouldn't stop talking about it. Dad practically adopted Daniel by day 2. Then Tuesday happened. I was upstairs gaming with headphones on when I heard the front door slam downstairs around 4. Mom and Emily had come back from shopping. A minute later, a scream. Not annoyed screaming, real panic. I ran downstairs and found Emily standing in the kitchen, hands shaking. "My ring," she whispered, then louder. "My ring." Mom started checking counters, drawers, sink. Emily suddenly turned toward me, her eyes locked onto mine. "You took it." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was ridiculous. "What?" "You were home alone. I was upstairs. You're the only other person here." She said she'd taken it off while washing dishes. Left it near the sink. Now it was gone. Therefore me. That was apparently enough evidence. What started as confusion became interrogation. "You've always been jealous." "I am not jealous. You hate that I'm doing better." "Emily, what are you talking about? You probably sold it already." Mom arrived beside her. Dad walked in 20 minutes later and got the story version where I had somehow transformed into an opportunistic thief. Then came the look. That look parents give strangers, not daughters. My dad stared at me. "We raised you better." I remember that line because it hurt more than being accused. My room got destroyed. Drawers dumped. Closet emptied. Mattress flipped. Boxes opened. My notebooks thrown everywhere. No ring, obviously. But they found the cash envelope hidden in my desk. About $400, money from grocery shifts, money for classes. Emily pointed immediately. "There, that's from selling it." I felt something crack inside me. That's my money. No one listened. The next days blurred together. Confess. Admit it. Make this easier. Tell us where it is. Every conversation became a trial. Every meal felt hostile. Emily avoided me except when accusing me. Mom cried constantly. Dad stopped making eye contact. Then came the final conversation. 48 hours. Pack. Leave. I remember standing there holding the kitchen counter because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. "You're kicking me out?" Dad wouldn't look at me. Mom kept crying. Emily stayed upstairs. The victim. I packed quietly. Clothes, laptop, 2 notebooks. A framed photo of me and Emily building snow forts when we were kids. I almost left that picture behind. Almost. The morning I left, I dragged my duffel bag to the driveway. I looked back once. Emily stood behind her bedroom curtain, watching. For 1 second I thought she looked unsure. Then the curtain closed. And just like that, I stopped being someone's daughter. Homelessness doesn't always look dramatic at first. Sometimes it looks like sitting on your old best friend's couch at 2 a.m., pretending the blanket over your knees is enough to make you feel safe. My friend Mason had just moved back after military service. He didn't ask many questions. He just opened the door and said, "Couch is yours." That couch saved my life. For weeks, I took anything that paid. Dishwashing, dog walking, moving boxes, cleaning offices after midnight. Some nights I slept in Mason's apartment. Some nights, when he needed space, I slept in the back seat of my car with my coat over my face so no one would see me. Nobody from my family called. Not Mom. Not Dad. Not Emily. Their silence became its own language. It said, guilty. Eventually, I got a warehouse job on the edge of town. Freezing winters, brutal summers, steel-toed boots, cracked hands, 12-hour shifts. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. Slowly, I rebuilt. I rented a room with 2 other warehouse workers. The bathroom barely worked. The fridge smelled haunted. But the key was mine. I signed up for online business classes. I worked. I studied. I slept. I repeated it until survival started looking like structure. Within 6 months, I became shift lead. For the first time, people saw me as reliable instead of disappointing. And still, the hurt stayed. Holidays were the worst. Christmas lights, families in grocery aisles, mothers humming carols. I'd hear Silent Night and remember Mom wrapping gifts at the kitchen table. I missed them, but missing someone doesn't mean they're safe. 3 years passed, 3 birthdays, 3 Christmases, 3 years of being the family thief. Then my dad emailed me. Subject line, "We need to talk." I almost deleted it. The message was short. "It's about the ring. We found it." My body went cold. I called him. He answered immediately, voice tired, like guilt had been sitting beside him for years. The ring had been inside the garbage disposal. Emily had dropped it while washing dishes. Never noticed. A plumber found it after the disposal started making strange grinding noises. 3 years. My entire life had been detonated by a diamond ring stuck under a kitchen sink. Dad kept talking. Emily cried. Mom cried. Everyone felt terrible. I didn't feel relief. I felt rage, because I had told the truth from the beginning. Rachel, no. Emily started calling non-stop after that. Messages, emails, a handwritten letter. I was stressed. I panicked. I thought you hated me. That was the worst part. She thought I was capable of it. After days of pacing and talking to Mason, I agreed to meet them. Not at home. Never home. A coffee shop 2 towns over. They walked in looking older. Mom cried before she even sat down. Dad looked hollow. Emily couldn't meet my eyes. Then the apologies came. Messy. Desperate. Too late. Mom said she blamed herself every day. Dad said he should have questioned everything. Emily said she hated herself. I listened because I needed to hear it. Then I told them what they had done. You didn't just doubt me, I said. You erased me. No one argued. That almost made it worse, because for once, they knew I was right. I didn't hug them. I didn't forgive them. I left with my coffee untouched and my hands shaking. But I also left knowing the truth had finally reached the people who destroyed me. And that was the first time in 3 years I could breathe without feeling like I was still being thrown out. I thought hearing the apology would fix something. It didn't. That night, after the coffee shop, I stared at my apartment ceiling until sunrise, wondering what people expect you to do after your family finally admits they ruined your life. Do you forgive them? Do you go home? Do you pretend the missing years were some misunderstanding? Because apologies are strange. They arrive carrying hope for the person giving them, not necessarily the person receiving them. And I had built too much to collapse back into old patterns. So I called them a week later. Not emotional, not angry, clear. I appreciate the apology, I told them. But I need boundaries, my mom cried quietly. Dad said he understood. Emily barely spoke. I laid out rules. Texts sometimes. Phone calls occasionally. No surprise visits. No guilt. No pretending. If rebuilding happened, it would happen slowly, on my terms. After that, I started therapy. Her name was Dana. The first session felt unbearable. Because once I started talking about the ring, other things came out too. The comparisons. The favoritism. The way Emily's successes always filled rooms while mine barely got acknowledged. The ring wasn't the beginning. It was just the explosion. Everyone finally noticed. Dana taught me something simple. Being angry doesn't make you cruel. Boundaries don't make you selfish. Protecting yourself doesn't make you difficult. So I kept rebuilding. I started going to the gym, learned how to cook actual meals, stopped surviving exclusively on noodles and caffeine, started sleeping again. Slowly, my family kept trying. Mom called once a week, mostly safe topics, hospital stories, recipes, weather. Dad emailed weird little things, warehouse articles, math jokes, photos from old vacations. His way of saying sorry without saying it. Emily was harder, much harder. She sent paragraphs, therapy updates, long apologies, explanations. I answered rarely, because she knew me best. That was what made it unforgivable. Months passed. Work improved too. Another promotion. Inventory management. Better pay. Better hours. For the first time, I started planning instead of surviving. Then a logistics management company in another city offered me a position. Benefits. Health insurance. My own apartment. A future. When I told Dana, she smiled. You finally stopped building around the wound. That stayed with me. I told my family about the move. Mom cried again. Dad nodded quietly. Then Emily showed up outside my apartment. Unexpected. Eyes swollen. Voice shaking. I feel like I'm losing you again. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said the truth. You lost me when you decided I was guilty before asking if I was okay. She cried harder. I didn't. Because this wasn't revenge anymore. This was consequence. We hugged once. Short. Awkward. Not warm. Not cold. Just honest. Before moving, we had a few family dinners. Stiff conversations. Careful words. Everyone acting like they were learning a language they used to speak fluently. Trust wasn't back. Maybe it never would be. But effort existed. And effort matters. 6 months later, I stood inside my new apartment, surrounded by unpacked boxes. My couch. My dishes. My life. Mine. I looked around at everything I had built, from warehouse shifts, second jobs, exhaustion, therapy sessions, loneliness, and stubbornness. Then my phone buzzed. Family group chat. Mom sent a picture of the old kitchen. The garbage disposal had finally broken for good. Dad wrote, "Maybe we should have listened to strange noises sooner." Emily reacted with a crying emoji. I stared at the screen for a second, then smiled. Not because everything was fixed, because it wasn't, but because their mistakes no longer owned me. I'm Vivian Mercer. I survived being accused. I survived being abandoned. I rebuilt myself from almost nothing. And this time, if people want a place in my life, they earn it.